everybody's having a blessed morning. You know, if you're waking up, getting your day going, you know, waking up, getting that YouTube notification. Want to drop, you know, some nuggets on you. Man, one of the best things that I value is transparency. And, you know, on this YouTube channel, Closer to Y'all Ministries, transparency is very important, you know, so you don't separate yourself from the flock in the fact that, you know, you yourself or myself making it seem like I don't go through things either. And man, that's not the reality of it. So transparent leadership, very important. And I think that's what, you know, people gravitate towards. So man, just to give you a little backstory before I get into this, you know, doing my warm up on this Stairmaster right now, but the struggle is real. And man, I want to talk to you about taking captive every wicked thought in the mind, every wicked thought, you know, developing a robust firewall. Man, you know, being in the military for 18 years, man, my career path in the military is communications, signal, IT, okay? And to those that don't know, a firewall is something on a network that controls incoming and outgoing traffic. And if you have a weak firewall, it's very easy for people to attack your network. Intruders, hackers to attack your network. You know, when you get a Wi-Fi modem, man, I had the experience to be able to know, okay, if I drive around and I'm looking at the service vehicles in the neighborhood, in a community, whether it be AT&T, whatever, you know, whatever it is, people don't realize that your default passwords, you know, are on the internet, since people don't, you know, change their passwords and things like that. But a firewall is what blocks intrusive traffic. You know, it stops certain information from making it out. And today, man, I want to talk about intrusive thoughts, because we really don't acknowledge the fact that a lot of this stuff that we see going on with people comes from intrusive thoughts. And these thoughts not being blocked, not being rebuked, you know, we oftentimes like to look at people and say, man, that person's crazy. They done lost their mind. Taken for granted, you know, in this moment, having sound mind, we don't break it down to the lowest common denominator when it comes to these intrusive thoughts. Man, you take it for example, you lose a loved one. You know they're on their way out. That time comes, and man, Hasatan will use any kind of avenue. You know, if he don't have the whole IP address and he's a 1/10 of a digit off, he's gonna play a guessing game. On Monday, I'm gonna try 1. Tuesday, I'm gonna try 2. You know, Wednesday, I'm gonna try 3 until he hits that digit, until he intrudes. And just off of you losing a loved one, if you're not constantly evaluating your firewall, you know, looking at what's going out, what's coming in, most importantly, what's coming in, because it is those things, man, that will defile you. And it all starts with a thought most times. Off of you losing a loved one that you knew lived a good life. You may not have spent the time that you wanted to with them, but they were up in age. Hasatan will exploit that and say, well, you might as well try to go home and be with them. And if you don't rebuke that, knowing that you got the blessing of life, man, that one intrusive thought will run rampant in your mind. And now all of a sudden you're dealing with depression, suicidal ideations. All of that one intrusive thought that got past your firewall. Weak script, weak code, and it made it pass. And oftentimes we don't look at this, we don't address it. You know, you have to think about in marriage, the stuff that you watch on social media. Man, there's a lot of stuff out there that seems entertaining, but it ain't no good for you. Let me say that again. A lot of stuff that seems very entertaining, seems like it's trending, going viral. But Hasatan is putting this stuff in front of you for a reason. Because when you watch it, you know, even though that situation may be scripted, not be something that you're going through, man, he'll plant a seed, you know, that will try to attack your mind. All of this crazy stuff going on in the world with people's relationships, you know, getting caught up in all of this, man, you can actually have a healthy relationship, watch something that's entertainment, and before you know it, man, you'll be looking at your spouse crazy, second guessing them. It all starts with your firewall. It all starts with your firewall. You know, blocking that traffic. Whoa, somebody was trying to intrude, lock it down. You know, when it comes to IT, for very sensitive information, and I want you to think about this word of the Most High Yah, and how, man, it can turn your life around if you apply it. Man, Hasatan wants to intrude your mind so he can try to twist and warp your understanding. He doesn't want you, you know, in 100% disbelief. He just wants you kind of confused. Because if he can get you confused, you feel lost. You're more likely to surrender to him. Developing a robust firewall. Man, it's currently 4-something in the morning where I am. And, you know, I've been talking about this fasting. Man, last night, although I had met the mission, you know, of eating my one meal per day, man, them attacks was coming on heavy. You know, I got up to use the bathroom and a thought came in my mind. Man, you can go in there and enjoy all the children's snacks. And knowing me, knowing myself, you know, when I eat sweets, I eat sweets. If my children got fruit snacks, hey, they gonna be like, it's only one fruit snack left. I'll be like, shut up, you know? But all of that, those attacks, the thoughts, man, your mind, my mind should have been on using the bathroom, coming back to bed, you know, making sure I don't wake my 3-month daughter up. But the thoughts came in, hey, man, if you look behind this bag of flour, there's a bag of Doritos, all kind. I'm like, man, where is this stuff coming from? And if you don't rebuke that stuff, you know, to cancel it out, next thing you know, the thought will take your flesh captive and you'll start moving in it. And last night, when I went to bed, man, I was sitting there getting my mind right, talking about, I was like, man, I need to be in the right frame of mind. I don't need to stay up watching TV. I don't need to be on my phone, you know, reading. I need to get some good quality sleep because this Stairmaster, man, it ain't gonna show no pity, you know? Ain't gonna show none whatsoever. And soon as I made that a priority, you know, first time I wake up to go to the bathroom, I normally get a little water, put a little, if I wake up to use the bathroom, I'm thirsty, get a little water, put a little apple cider vinegar in it, sip that, go back to bed. You know, I don't know what age, I can't recall what age that you hit and you gotta have water by the bed. You don't have no water by the bed, oh man, that's rough. You know, I don't know what age that was, but man, these intrusive thoughts began to come about. And in the past, man, I might have let them thoughts, you know, take over. And in one night sitting, in a matter of 10 minutes sitting on the side of the bed, man, you'd be surprised how much food, when in a sleepy state, you can take in, you know, because you ain't really weighing nothing out. You ain't looking at no portion sizes, none of that. You bring the whole tub of grapes to the side of the bed and be eating them polished off in and out of a daze. Lots of times gonna exploit that. Man, 4 a.m. rolls around, you know, my daughter, normal routine, around 4 a.m., almost 3 months old, man, she gonna be cranky and ready to go in the morning, you know, and thought came in my mind, you know, an excuse. Man, your daughter's up, she's cranky. You don't need to go out there and work out. You don't even need to go out there and do that. You can just lay right in this bed with your daughter, you know, rubbing legs up against your woman, your wife. Don't worry about it. I started to realize, man, every time you set a goal, man, Hasatan, when you think about intrusive thoughts, man, he wants to intercept. If he can just intercept what you're doing, and the whole goal is surrounded by getting this temple in the shape that I want it, you know? Man, being in the military, being in the army, with the standards as relaxed as they are, man, you can lower your own individual standard conforming to the norms, you know, of the environment, and tell yourself, man, I'm doing good. But truth of the matter is, I remember when the standards were a lot higher. So getting back to that high level of maintenance, you know, definitely doing it in righteousness. That's the main goal. And every day, you know, fasting, eating 1 meal a day. My window of eating is about 4:30 p.m. to about 7:30, 8 at night. And I'm normally done by about 7. I eat my meal, I might have some yogurt or something, some Greek yogurt, or a banana and some peanut butter for, after my meal. That's pretty much it. But man, it seems like every day around 3 p.m., man, them intrusive thoughts, it's like I got a hyper awareness of where every vending machine is. Where every vending machine is, he'll place the intrusive thought of, how stuff tastes already, but he'll tell you it tastes even better, just to try to break you. Man, I tell you, if the intrusive thoughts last night of going in there ravaging that pantry like a raccoon didn't take me out, man, if it wasn't them my boogers and them intrusive thoughts of excuses this morning, well, I almost didn't come out here and make it. I would have been in the bed right now, but no progress would have been made. And if Hasatan can use them thoughts to get your mind docile, sedentary, complacent, man, he'll do it. He'll definitely do it. Won't think twice about it. This is where you have to, on a daily basis, man, you have to ensure your firewall is robust by taking captive every thought. Everything that goes out, you want to make sure it's good, in line with righteousness. If you're sending a thought out, making sure that goal, that task, whatever's in your mind is in line with righteousness. But also, man, sometimes them intrusive thoughts can come via a phone call. The book talks about a time of separation between a man and his wife, due to uncleanliness, menstrual cycles. But man, we have to, especially in these last days where there's so much foolishness around you, man, you have to, in the morning, give yourself some time of separation, not only to pray to the Most High, to seek him out, make sure you're in alignment with his will, but also set the standard, write the code, write the script that is going to determine if your firewall is robust. Daily basis. When it comes to phone calls, people got my number, but everybody don't have access because some people want to call and vent, disguising it like they want some wisdom, but inadvertently, Hasatan is using them, to exploit your mind, to plant an intrusive thought. Used to be once point in time in my life where my whole day was consumed with being a listening ear to people venting constantly on a daily basis. But you know what was the common denominator? Once I stepped in the truth, started walking upright, I realized, man, these people really didn't want the truth. They were looking for somebody to side with them. And the stuff that they was bringing to me will take over your mind and change the way slowly you see things. Somebody call you, oh man, I'm going through this and I'm going through that, and man, this thing is rough. You don't even realize how blessed you are. And if they keep calling on a consistent basis, cracking away at your firewall, pretty soon, the same mindset they got, you will be having. I don't give a dang if you got a can of Bush's beans to eat for dinner. man, you blessed. But these intrusive thoughts, constantly scrolling social media, man, I want to encourage you to stop scrolling and start flipping and reading, getting back to that, wearing out them pages on the Bible. Because, man, when you think about the stronghold social media has on people, man, your bills can be paid. You got gas in your car. You got a bus pass, a subway ticket. You name it. You've got some cheese. That can of baked beans. Your AC or your heat's on. Don't even realize how blessed you are. But social media will present to you the best of what people want you to see, and you will start second guessing, what you got and how you've been blessed. That intrusive thought of covetousness. Man, see, it seems like everybody else is getting this. I want what they got. Pretty soon, man, you start coveting after what people want. I want the sisters out there to truly think about these intrusive thoughts, when it comes to your body, when it comes to the thought of, Hasatan attacking you in the mind. If you do this, you can get the amount of attention that you want. I talked about that digital dopamine rush, that digital crack. Same thing for men. I want you to truly think about some of these thoughts of you seeing lawless men, and you're looking at them, the optics of it, saying, man, they look like they living good. They doing everything that we ain't supposed to be doing. They eating crab legs, eating the finest shrimp, breaking bands. Man, if you sit back and watch that too long, lots of time sitting over there decoding your firewall. So now you unhappy with the help meet you got. Now you unhappy with the blessing you got. And you start moving according to them intrusive thoughts, and it'll destroy you. You will self-sabotage. That's the main goal. Hey, shalom, shalom. We got Bambi Palermo. Good morning. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. Take them thoughts captive. Whatever is coming against you to stop you from doing what you know you should be doing, and that's where you rebuke it. Rebuke it in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Man, once I started rebuking these thoughts instead of letting them run rampant, man, this is the longest time that I have made fasting a part of my daily life. I've done 2-day fast in the past, 1-day fast. I've done those, but this is the first time in my life where I've done it consistently. Breaking my plate, developing, more healthier habits for righteousness' sake. And I'm able to, like a heightened awareness of being able to catch these intrusive thoughts. When they come knocking on the door, or they're creeping up that window to see if anybody's gonna turn the lights on, I'm able to turn that light switch on. Aha! Get gone. Hey, Bambi Palermo said, you notice a difference in your life? You could just elaborate. Are you talking about with the fasting, or rebuking these intrusive thoughts. And I'll answer that. Just let me know which one you were referencing, and I'll answer that. But to both, man, I do acknowledge and okay, yes, definitely. She said rebuking. Heck yeah. So, man, there was thoughts that had been running rampant in my mind for years. And I didn't realize it. So rebuking it definitely was a game changer. Man, I'm past my time, but take every thought captive, rebuke it in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Have a blessed day. Close to the Yah Ministries, kicking it gun barrel straight.